Welcome to Leading for Wellness. I'm Liesl Bernard, CEO of Cologne Executive Search and Leading for Wellness events. Each week, we dive into the journeys of visionary wellness entrepreneurs, uncovering their secrets to success. Get ready for insightful conversations that will inspire you to elevate your business and prioritize your well-being. Let's dive in. Very excited today to introduce our guest, Elina Wang, who is the CEO and founder of ESW Beauty, a brand that's inspired by health and wellness. And so it's not just a beauty brand. And today we're going to have an opportunity to talk about how she founded the company and to where it's grown today. Elina, thank you so much for making time to speak with me.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, so I would love to hear how this all started because you didn't start out wanting to start a beauty brand when you started your career. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I did not actually, but it just happened very organically and it actually started off with bulimia and body image um issues that I had myself. That's where the story started. So I had a lot of these concerns and insecurities in middle school and high school, and this led me to go through my bulimia journey. And this caused stomach ulcers along the way. Obviously, as you make yourself vomit, you get very sick. And so along the way while doing this, I was actually working for my mom's family business, and she had a Korean beauty distribution company. And so in high school and then in college, I was selling products on the trade show floor to buyers. I was going to Korea and visiting manufacturers, and it was a very simple business model where we source products like international trade and we sold them to retailers. I was able to try so many products and I fell in love with the skincare, especially masks. I love how in Korea they're so innovative with skincare and how their ingredients are used and that they can make it an affordable way. And I thought I really wanted to create a brand that combined my two passions because after going through my stomach ulcers, I started my wellness journey and I fell in love with better for you beverages, health, mental health, and I wanted to create a brand that combined the 2 and became a community-focused brand that inspired young
Wow.
girls. So
That's
created a
that's
skin
so inspiring.
Thank you. Created a
Yeah.
skincare brand that's made with all clean formulas, that's clinically effective, inspired by K-beauty, inspired by my wellness experience, and that is building a community and uplifts young girls. So
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
lot of different pillars, but that's truly the most authentic story of how ESW Beauty was founded.
Yeah, it's so vulnerable that you're able to share that, and I love that you did it because I think there's so many young girls that are struggling with self-image, at that age and end up having some sort of an eating disorder or a dysfunctional relationship with food and their own health. So thank you for sharing that. And it's just amazing that you turned that into almost your biggest strength. You turn that into creating something beautiful from trying to heal yourself. So
Yeah.
what an incredible story. So what is ESW Beauty for anyone that's out there listening to this for the first time and that's not familiar with your brand? Can you give a description of it a little bit?
It is better for you skincare that has clean formulas. It's clinically effective, derm tested, and it's fun for you in an affordable way. That is really the brand, but behind it, it goes a lot deeper because we are building a community that, we want to inspire to really love themselves more and to learn that self care is something that, they can have fun with. And so there's like a deeper meaning to it that I'm excited to share more of now. Actually, it's something that I started really thinking of to doing and connecting it back to my original journey and my original struggle with my eating disorder.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you're now in how many retail stores?
We're in around like 19,000 retail stores. So we're in stores like Whole Foods, Sprouts, Walgreens, CVS, Urban Outfitters, and more.
Amazing. So I want to go back to the very beginning. I think at one point you shared with me that you started out with a $25,000 bank loan, and What kind of, where are you at today? How did you turn that $25,000 into a multi-million dollar business in over 6 years?
Yeah, so I had this dream and I didn't know where to start. I knew that I can get a bank loan, and that's what I did. That was a $25,000
Was
bank.
that hard to do?
Um, it's not difficult because $25,000 is not a lot, but I had to put down a personal guarantee.
Hmm.
And we used that to make samples. We signed up for a trade show, Cosmoprof in 2019, and we bought flights and hotels, and that basically ate up the $25,000. Sold the products to retailers and was able to then make a few $100,000 in orders. And slow and steady over the next 5, 6 years, we then built an 8-figure brand. And so last year, we ended up the year at around 11.4 million.
Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations for what you've built in such a short time. I think part of, I think, what entrepreneurs struggle with is, you have an idea, but how do you visualize sort of where it could grow to? Tell me a little bit about your visualization process, because here you are, you turn that $25,000 into a multi-million dollar business. Um, what was your mindset like when you started out and as you continued to grow over the last 6 years?
I am a very goal oriented person. So I told myself I wanted to build a household skincare brand and
You
that
had that vision.
I had that vision. I knew it right away because I want if I'm starting a product or I'm starting a company, I want it to become something that made an impact to people and that became an everyday product. And I just kept believing. I knew that it would be a very, very intricate multi step process and it would take many, many years. But I really believe in manifestation. If you don't hold on to this belief and you don't stay positive, there's no way you can get through the problems and hurdles that being an entrepreneur goes through.
Yeah, absolutely. And incredible again, because you were probably in a pretty dark place in your life when you experienced some of those health issues.
Mhm.
And then to turn that into a really clear vision of where you wanted to go for the next 5 to 10 years. If another young person, another young woman out there is listening to this, sort of how did you turn your life around to say, I can be this from where I am today?
I think I always knew deep down, even though I was going through those things, I knew that I wanted to be something big. I think that I read some sort of quote where, someone was saying that if you are meant to be someone big, you would know early on. And that's what I believed in. And I wanted to be able to I use my own struggles to hopefully become an inspiring story for other girls who are going through the same thing that I was. So I always knew that. I didn't know how to get there, but I think every door that opened along the way, like the opportunity to work for my mom and then meeting my co-founder, who's my other half, he does the operations and a lot of the, logistics and supply chain in the business. Then the idea of the $25,000 bank loan, then the first retail order, those windows opened one by one to then manifest my dream.
And how did you handle obstacles along the way? And what were some of the biggest obstacles that you faced along the way?
Um, I had a lot. So obviously, we have obstacles like, well, how are we going to convince the manufacturers to make samples? That was the very first one. I wanted to make a few hundred samples. I could not commit to a full 20,000 unit MOQ that they had. So we actually did some research, and this comes from, I think being creative and just believing. And we found that there were different ways manufacturers printed sheet masks. And so instead of using a gravure printer, we used a digital printer, and that was able to reduce the MOQ. So we actually taught the manufacturer they can do that, and they did that for us. That was the first obstacle. And then obviously along the way, figuring out COVID, we went through COVID. We lost all of our retailer orders because doors closed. So we went to small businesses instead and subscription boxes. And that was the first store that helped, segue that first half of the year. And then from there launching into retailers, large retailers, how do we do that? How do we navigate all of the deductions and the trade spend? So, a lot of obstacles, cash crunches, even, finding the right people on your team. But I think it's making sure that, you're always trying to learn online, doing research, and then just having good mentors around you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Who are your biggest mentors?
I have a few. I mean, a few people on my team, they are my mentors. And then I have, my mom is a big mentor, some founders in the industry that I've talked to, some peers. I think those are all different people that, have helped guide me.
And if you had to say to somebody else that's maybe in your, shoes 5, 6 years ago, what advice would you have for a young entrepreneur that have an idea that they want to bring to market? What are the few things that they need to consider?
Make sure there's actually a market need for it and that you have a differentiation. I think that's very important. And make sure that you have a basic skill set to do what you need to do. And if you don't, find people around you, find a co founder or, understand how are you going to have help because you definitely don't know everything you need to know. I think you have to set yourself up for success. The biggest thing is when you get to the problem and you don't know how to solve the problem, that's the real problem. If you get to the problem and you already have resources to help yourself, then it's much easier to get through it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So tell me more about the brand. I think you sort of did it the opposite to what a lot of other brands today are doing. Most companies are going D2C immediately, but you sort of went the retailer way, which I think is very smart because people already recognize your brand in stores. But tell me a bit about that strategy and sort of what's next for ESW.
Yeah. I think I did that because I had to be honest. One, we did not have a huge budget. I think to launch online, either you need to have a big online presence or you need to be able to have a substantial marketing budget to get the word out there. But it also came from my knowledge and background. I started from B2B. I was on the trade show floor. I was in buyer meetings when I was very young. So that's what I already knew. So because of that, that's what I chose. And then the nature of our product, they are a low price point. They can start as an impulse buy. They are not it's not a $50 skincare product. So it's not a big lift for someone to purchase. So I knew that B2B was the smartest and the only way I could get my products off the ground. Now, though, we are really working hard on growing our D2C, our TikTok shop, on Amazon to build a very strong omni-channel presence. And what's next? It's continuing to innovate within our category and then also creating everyday skincare products. I think that is where you can really integrate into someone's skincare routine, creating a serum, a moisturizer, a cleanser, etc. And also that's where you really can build the retention needed for the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So your demographic is sort of young teens, but even I use some of your products. So and I'm much later in my life. So what is your target demographic, or is it really that wide from teens all the way through more mature women?
It's definitely not just young teens. It is from teenagers to, I would say, mostly younger millennials. I think one, our products are in retailers that access this demographic. But I think it's more about the personality. It is that girl next door. It is that person who is looking for a product that works, that's safe, that's easy to understand, um, that's affordable, and that has a community behind it.
Yeah.
And, I think another part of it is affordability as well. I think us being in a lot of grocery stores and, drug retailers like Walgreens and CVS position it to be a product that is easily accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. And your biggest products, your biggest sellers are your lip products and also your sheet masks. Is that correct?
And eye patches.
And the eye patches. Okay. Fantastic. So as an entrepreneur, I think you always change as the company scales and the company grows. You have to take on new roles. Tell me a little bit about your journey in how your role has changed as a CEO from 6 years ago and how you navigated all that.
I started as doing everything by myself, everything from figuring out, how to talk to the manufacturers, negotiate with them, to building the trade show set. when I was in Cosmoprof to lugging around to the truck and bag, pitching to retailers, onboarding, paperwork, posting on social media. So I was the everything girl and do it by myself person. And then I started hiring some people on the team. I think I needed to be the person that was very involved in every single decision. I was approving every little thing from color to font to, the business cards, all of that. And then now I focus on hiring the right people, building systems, and working on strategy and making sure that we're consistently connecting with their community and doing it in a way um, that inspires them. So definitely changed a lot over time. I think that that's something a lot of founders struggle with their identity and how they are most helpful to the business. But I've
I
had to
think that's so true.
have some hard conversations with employees and myself to understand how to be a better founder and CEO.
Yeah, it's an ever evolving process, isn't it? And especially when it's your baby, it's so hard to let go. But that's really what it requires to scale, right? I think if you're
Absolutely.
too much in the weeds, you just can't scale. And so it's so true that you have to focus on strategy. That's amazing. That's another question I kind of wanted to ask, and you sort of answered it already, is how do you separate your identity from the business when you're a founder? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that.
Yeah. I think that this career is the most integrated career compared to anyone else out there, an entrepreneur, because it is your whole life. I think I definitely have a personal life where I'm not working. Recently I've been, loving and trying to getting into golf a little bit more. I like music. I like going to music festivals. I like to spend time with my boyfriend and my dog. But ESW is so important to me that I am always thinking about it. And, it is a big part of my identity. But I like it. I like it that way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people visualize their success when you start out, but I think part of being successful is you got to be able to visualize the next step. So you've always got to be one step ahead in your visualization, your goal setting, and where you want to end up in the next 2 to 5 years from now. Is that something you do actively? On a daily basis, or, kind of how do you set the next vision? And you talked earlier about manifestation. I'm a big believer in that as well.
Mhm.
So how do you incorporate the law of attraction, manifestation, visualization, but still being, you know, in, in the weeds, so to speak, with the business?
I think you need time to think, um, what about not how to solve a problem because every day as an entrepreneur, you are always hit with that. People before you even start your day, people are coming to you with things to approve and solve and figure out. I think you need to block out time to really just think, where are we at right now? What are our main core issues? Where do I want to be? Looking at other brands on the market, seeing what they're doing. And then from there, it just comes innately, but it does come in phases. I think sometimes I'm so caught up on, like figuring out a solution for an immediate problem where I don't take the time to step back to think about the bigger picture. Meditation also helps a lot too. I think meditation is a time where I can, calm myself down and remove the noise from my head. And then naturally, the bigger things in life and the bigger parts of the business will come to me.
Yeah. Yeah, meditation is huge. Tell me a bit about more about your meditation practice. Is that something that you started recently, or has that always been part of your life?
It's been recent. And I think that, when you hear every leader or, Fortune 500 CEO talk about meditation, um, it's, I try it and I'm like, there has to be some rhyme or reason to it. And there really is because you need to remove the noise. I think that's important, the pressure, and just calm down because you are the anchor of a company. And so what I do is I spend 20 minutes every day where usually it is at night. I'm more of an evening person and night owl. And I just relax. I let my mind go. I don't think about anything. I close my eyes. And that has helped me become more of a calm person over time and has helped me become a better founder, I hope.
Yeah. No, I'm a big believer in that as well. I think it's truly important to be able to be still within yourself because that's where you get inspired, you get ideas, you are able to see things from a different perspective. And if you don't take time out to do that, it's really difficult to, you know, get a different view on things and get inspired. So amazing that you've added that to your arsenal, so to speak. What else do you do for burnout? Sort of what is your sort of things that you do on a daily basis that keeps you grounded? Outside of meditation, do you have any other health or spiritual routines that you do?
I think having good people around you is very, very important. I think one besides your career, I think, honestly, the most important decision of your life is having a very good partner, someone who can be your safe space. So I think talk to him a lot and it calms me down. It gives me a different perspective on life. And I
Is
think
he also in the business?
Um, no, my personal partner, my boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's not your business partner.
No, no, 2 different people. But also having a good business partner as well is very, very important where you can have hard conversations and I think be and have someone who is very loyal. I think that both of us are very, very loyal to each other, my business partner, my co-founder. But I think other than that, I think it's finding hobbies where you enjoy life and you have fun is important. Like I like to travel, trying to play some more golf, like music, EDM. Those are some things that I really like because you have to enjoy life because being an entrepreneur and founder is just way too hard.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's all consuming, I think, when you're an entrepreneur, like you said earlier. So, how has this shaped you as a person? Obviously, you've come a long way in 6 years from now, from ago when you started the company. How have you changed, and what strengths and things have you built up?
I think confidence. I think I've changed a lot. I've built a lot of confidence. I started as, a girl who was in college. I really didn't love myself. It was my body, it was me, it was my personality. I was a very quiet and shy girl, but I did have a big dream and I was able to build something and see the fruitions of my labor, see the success that I've had, and see myself inspire other girls. I think that is major. I think understanding people better was something that I learned a lot too. I think from building a team, you really do have to understand people, understand their wants, their needs, how you can help them. And it's beyond your employees. It is your consumer, your customer, your buyers, your, um, you know, trade partners, everyone around you. I think becoming more level-headed and calm is another thing that has helped a lot, where I've really, grown into because you've seen all the different problems and you just become less phased. And there's probably so many more, but I think those are just some key ones that um I've really found myself develop.
Yeah, I think one thing I see in you is that you have a certain faith in yourself that you can accomplish what you set yourself out to do,
Hmm.
which is a very rare trait for someone. I think as early on in their career as you are,
Hmm.
um, and I think that's such an amazing trait. What advice would you have for your 22-year-old self about that?
I think don't get worked up so much. Like, you will get through it. Like, you're wasting your energy getting upset, or getting angry, crying, complaining. Just don't get worked up because you will be able to get through it. And also that time, that energy that you're wasting, that negative energy, you could be using on working on the business or just having fun in general. That's a more positive place where you can place your energy. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's pretty wise for someone. I think, as young as you are, to have the ability to understand that you always have a choice in every moment. Um, to how you're going to show up, right? And sometimes it is just that pause and being able to choose a different emotion. So yeah, it's amazing. Um, what else do you think is really important that you would love to share with, our audience about just your journey? And maybe we can talk about what's next for ESW over the next 5 to 10 years. But yeah, super inspirational what you've built. And, I remember going to your booth at Expo West earlier this year, and there were just tons of people around,
Yeah.
getting samples and wanting to know more. It was quite a sight to see that many people at your booth. So you've really built up an incredible following.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's such an open-ended question and trying to
Hmm.
think about what I can share. But if it's since it's a very wellness focused story and podcast, I say really, really focus on your mental wellness and really work on that. I think that's very important for anything in life, whether you want to be a founder or you want to be, a top executive. But really think about that a lot. Like, what are things that you can do to make yourself calm, to make yourself level headed that we talked about? That is more important than you think because that affects your perspective on life.
Yeah, and your energy, right? And what you attract into your life. That's absolutely
Mhm.
true. So outside of meditation, just to get a bit more granular on that advice, is there anything else that you do outside of meditation? Do you journal or, spend time in nature? What else do you do to, make sure you have the best possible mindset for success?
I don't really journal, but I do like to have solo walks a lot. I think spending time by myself. Also I kind of travel a lot alone. I think spending time with yourself and, making sure you are in your own thoughts helps a lot. But then also on the opposite end, I think really, really important for my own mental wellness, my mental health to pick the right partner. I've done ESW Beauty because I've run the company for 6 years now and I've had good partners and bad partners, and it makes a huge difference. I think making sure you have good people around you, that's something that I've been really working on.
And that's employees or the other business partners?
It's a life partner.
Hmm.
I think it's employees and it's a business partner. I think
Yeah.
people is so important because going back to energy, the wrong people can drain your energy.
Yeah. And protecting, I read something last night that, if you really want to be in the flow state and be performing at your optimum capacity, you've got to be really, really selfish with who you allow into your energy field, right? And I think that's
Absolutely.
exactly what you said, is because even
Yes.
allowing someone in that may not, have the right energy can affect how the rest of your day would go. So getting really selfish with your energy, I think is really great advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really 2 things with that. I think one is making sure you have very good people around you because one conversation, one argument, for example, can really impact your day and your decision making. But the second part of that is you also need to work on building up yourself to be so emotionally strong to not let those things bother you. So
Yeah.
I think it's a twofold process to protect your energy. And that's something I'm working on too, making sure I have good people around me, but also improving my own strength and my own mental strength of tuning the negative energy out so I can focus when I need to focus. But it's
Yeah.
an active muscle you need to train. I don't think anyone is born with it. You have to work on that.
Yeah.
And that comes from meditation. So it's all a full circle, everything we've discussed.
Yeah, mind, body, spirit, right? Every day. And you've got to work on all of that in order to maintain your center. And like you said, nobody comes into this world without triggers or things that, affect them emotionally. So it's our job to get over those and to find ways to smooth out the rough edges, so to speak. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely. Um, and what's next for ESW? Are you, you know, you said you're adding new products to the line, so it becomes a full skincare line, and you're going more into D2C, is that correct?
Yes. So those are 2 things that we're focusing on right now. And building community, I think is very, very important. I think, anyone can create a product, but how can you build a community where people love your brand so much that they not only use it, but they are advocating and they're sharing it with their friends and their own community? So we're doing that through obviously online social media engagement, working with affiliates and influencers, doing more in-person events as well, and ambassador programs, worry campaigns. So that's something I'm actively thinking about. And I think sharing my story more, about everything from my own body image journey and bulimia story, lack of self confidence. How did I take that to become the person I am today? That's something that I think will also hopefully resonate with people. So,
Yeah,
doing some
absolutely.
more social media and using that as a platform to be able to share my stories.
Absolutely. I think that's so wise because I think a lot of the more mature brands that are out there, beauty brands, they don't have that same level of community, right? You're just going into a Nordstrom beauty, section and you're buying the products that you want. But you're saying that it's really about creating that community and that's when to create the lasting brand. And I think it's very smart of you to really focus on that and connect with people on a personal level as well. Is that something that you thought about before, or is it something that this is recently, became a priority for you?
This is recent. I
Interesting.
didn't think this far before. I think everything is in stages, but I've realized that, one, I don't really want to just create products and that's it. I want to be more, I want to go deeper, but also to create a successful brand, it's also very competitive. You have to create a community because there's so many brands around you. Why would someone want ESW? Because they believe in you, because they believe in your mission, and of course, you have good products.
Yeah. And you've
But I
created
love that.
trust
I
with your
think
consumers about the ingredients in your products and the fact that it's cruelty free and it's a vegan product as well, right?
mhm, exactly.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, this is so inspiring. Again, congratulations on all your success. We're going to put a link below the podcast with a discount code if anyone wants to buy some of your products. And if anyone wants to reach you, learn about more about your story, what is the best way for them to contact you?
On Instagram and
Okay.
TikTok, so at Elina Sofia Wang. I think that's where I talk and I build the relationships most with people, sharing my story, sharing reels, videos, my day, talking to people in DMs. So that's probably the most direct way to reach me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and for your sharing your amazing advice for all your success. And I can't wait to see where you head to next time. And hopefully, we'll have you back on the show again in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Leading for Wellness. This podcast is powered by Leading for Wellness CEO and Investor Events and Cologne Executive Search. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your favorite social media platform. And to learn more about our services, visit leadingforwellness.com or colognesearch.com and follow us on Instagram as well.